Hello, good evening, good afternoon, or good morning. We know we have a lot of viewers from around the world. Welcome to the European Championship of the Optimist 2022, Sønderborg, Denmark. My name is Thomas Bjørnlytti, and I'm going to be your host today, guiding you through what happens here at the championship. Today we have a highlight show with a lot of cool interviews, and also we're going to learn a little bit more about the Optimist. But don't worry, before we start, let's go to the harbor and hear something from the sailors.
I am from Latvia and my name is Tom Andrew. Well, this is my first international event and I am pretty hyped because everybody is really friendly and nice. It was pretty good. I liked the wind, but unfortunately it was a little unlucky for me. Yeah, I feel like it because there's wind and I like wind. And I expect some really nice racing and I expect to get into the Gold Fleet, yes.
I'm Sarah Jar and I'm from Madeira Island from Portugal. It's my first ever event and it's been really good. I'm enjoying it a lot. It wasn't really good because I had some problems in the start, so then my races didn't go as well as I thought. I think that I started too late, so the other ones were a bit in front of me. I mean, I expect for me that I'll stay in the 10 first, but I don't know. I think I'm going to make it to the Gold Fleet. Portugal! Portugal!
It creates so much joy to see the sailors on the harbor, see how they are as a team, but also see how they meet as friends and talk together and just having fun while they're competing at the highest level. And the Optimist class, it is the biggest class, or one of the biggest boat classes in the world, and that's where the youth are beginning. And you can already start in a young age. 6 years old, you can start in some clubs and competitions when you're 8. So, start sailing if you're watching this. Another thing we're going into, let's talk a little bit about what the Optimist did. Let's go to our favorite Dutch, and she will explain us more about the Optimist today.
I'm Jules, I'm from the Netherlands, I sail an Optimist and I'm now in Denmark, Sønderborg. And I'm going to tell you a little bit more about why I started sailing an Optimist and how we train. I started sailing an Optimist because it's the beginner boat. So when you start sailing, you first will probably go and sail an Optimist because it's the smallest boat and it's the easiest to learn. The differences between training for an event and training just at home, it's really different because when you're sailing for an event and you're on a new location, you really try to look at the wind, see how the wind works there, if there is current, if there are any differences in the landscape. And when you're just training at home, you really just try to look at your technique in the boat and more about how you can improve that. And when you're just beginning in an Optimist and you're your first training, you're really learning about what is upwind, what is downwind, and all the parts in the boat. So you just really get the basis. Well, the most fun part is that, well, you can also just do football, but football you have on a Sunday or something, you have a game with your team and you have training Wednesday. But in an Optimist, when you're sailing, it's a really big thing because it's not only sailing, it's also everything around it, because you make a lot of new friends, you come in other countries, and it's also not just sailing, not just sitting in your boat and pulling the main sheet. You also have the wind and the landscapes and everything around it, so it's a lot more than just sitting in your boat. You really have to think and you need to multitask. I think the hardest part is combining everything. So tactical, strategical, and your technique. Like if you want to focus on the wind there and what is happening if it shifts, if there is pressure anywhere, then you also need to make sure that your speed is still good. So you need to make sure that your speed and your boat handling is really good, and then you can look around outside of your boat to look if there are any benefits on the course.
When you're sailing the Optimist and as a youth sailor, there's a lot of things you need to remember, both in practice but also when you're going out for competitions. This is the boat class where you're going to learn how to handle a boat, what a sail is and how to maneuvering with this fantastic boat. It is the beginner class, but it's also the boat where most of the sailors in the world started their sailing career. But when the kids here are at a competition like this, the parents are there, the team managers and the coaches. But there's one rule: the kids need to be able to do things themselves. And one of the things they need to check in for is measurements. Let's hear a little bit from Iota how measurements are.
Hello, my name is Concha Ontiveros. I'm from Spain. I'm an international measurer, and at this event, I'm the chief measurer. Yeah, I've been involved in IOTA since 2010, I think, 2010. And for me, it's like an honor to be here because it means that it means a lot for me. In fact, when I started in Spain to be a measurer, I always wanted to be at international events, and for me, it's something special because I meet people. Coaches are normally the same, so it's like a big family around the world. Our main goal here is to make sure that we have a fair event. So that means that everyone is sailing with more or less the same equipment according to our class rules. So we have two main tasks here. The first one is to make a pre-event measurement where we check all the equipment of our sailors. And after that, we do a measurement checks on the water where we make sure that they are sailing according to our safety rules and they are using the equipment that we have checked here. What we do at the measurement end is to make sure that all the equipment is according to the rules. So we take the mast, the boom, the sprit and the foils to check them. We also measure the sail and we make sure that they have a measurement certificate. And then randomly we take a few hulls just to make sure that our builders are also working properly. And in this way we can know that all the sailors are with the same conditions, so we have a fair event on the water. At the end of every race, we choose minimum 3 boats on the top 10 and then randomly a few of more. And what we do there is to check the safety equipment, like the paddle is attached to the boat or the bailers, and also the dagger board has to be attached to the hull. And then we check the mast with the sticker, and the measurement band has to be in between these two. And they have all the stickers that we have applied during the measurement days. If they fail in one of these things, then we will go to a penalty. And this is maybe the worst part of our work.
As you might have seen on the pictures, today's wind conditions were very light. We started in the morning with the sun shining, light winds, but the tricky bay of Sundbyberg, yeah, it's called the tricky bay of Sundbyberg now, is making everything a little bit hard for the sailors on the water. But before going in to see the results of the day, let's go to the harbor again and meet some of the sailors.
My name is Glenn Foster and I'm from the USA. Yes, I'm enjoying my time here. This is my second IOTA event and it's been a good experience. I think it's pretty nice how since I'm not from Europe, I get to still participate at Europeans. Yesterday was a good day. The wind was a little bit light, but it was a good day, and the starts took a little bit long kind of start, but after that, the races were good. Yeah, I think I'm gonna make Gold Fleet, and today is gonna be a really good day. The wind looks pretty nice. Yeah, yesterday, the light wind was pretty difficult, and the big chop. I overcame it by having good technique and trying to work the waves to kind of not stop when I hit the chop.
Hi, my name is Petr Panni and I'm from Hungary. This is my first international event and I'm having a really good time here. I made really good friends and I'm really happy. I got a yellow flag at the first race, but I came pretty good at the second, so I'm satisfied. Yeah, I'm trying to make it to the Gold Fleet. I'm really close to there, so.
Talking with the sailors every morning is giving me such a big joy. And if you really ask them, hey, what is the 3 most important things you learned being at a competition, or the 3 important things that you will remember from this competition? First thing they're saying, I'm here with a lot of other sailors and I get a lot of international friends. That's the first thing. The second is, hey, I'm here to compete. I will try to qualify for the Gold Fleet, but I'm also here to learn. And then the third thing, hey, I'm having fun. I'm in another country and I'm racing internationally. Well, with that said, we have some results from today's races. So let's go in and see how it has been going for the boys. Tomorrow we are going to race the Golden Fleet. But we're only showing top 23 today. As I remember, more is qualified. We will get the exact number tomorrow because it's a discussion. It's all about splitting up the things. But the way you're reading a scoreboard like this, you can see they've been doing 6 races. Then you can see there are some numbers. If you get one number, a 1 point, then it's because you won the race. 2 points, second place, 3 points, third place, and so on. Then you can also see there are some numbers. There is marked with a parenthesis, and if you see this marking, it means it's discarded. It doesn't count into the overall result. Example number 1 from Greece. Yardson, he has a victory, a 5th place, a victory, a 12th position, and a 2nd place. His worst result, the 12th place, will be removed. So in total, he actually has 22 points, but his result going into next round is 10 points. Then you go to 2nd place, Arthur from Italy. He also has 10 points overall. He had one race where he's getting 49 points, but because it was the baddest result he had, it's discarded and put it out. So here we have the top 20, and it's going to be very close in the racing tomorrow, because if you're doing a bad result, you will get many points into this account, and the Gold Fleet is on the way to Friday. So maybe 4 races will come up deciding who is going to be the European champion. Another thing you can see in 4th position, we have a sailor from USA, Harrison Gandhi. If you see him there, he's from USA, it's the European Championship. If he's going to win the event, he will be the overall winner of the event, but he will not be crowned a European champion because he's coming from outside. But even if it's a European Championship, it is an open event. Let's go see the girls' results. Looking into top 20 of the girls. And if you want to see more results, then go to IOTA's homepage. Go to optiworld.org. There you can see more about the event. Or if you have access to the app, then go in to the app. On the first place, we have from France, a sailor from France. First race, 12th position. Second race, 2nd position. And then she started winning 3 races, one of them today. And then she got 16 in the last race of today, giving her a total score of 33 points. But the score going into the next round, because the worst result is moved away, it's discarded, giving her 17 points. 2nd place, Italy, 18 points. Again, here we can just see also winning 2 races. And this way you can go all the way down. And if we go to position number 10 from Poland, Kania, she got not the best start in first race yesterday, Monday, but then she won a race. So you can just see how much it's switching. Even these sailors can do great races, but a bad decision on water, and we will come more into that later today, will do some things. Some places you can also see there's an BFD on top of it. It's a black flag disqualification, meaning you've been doing a false start. Then there is DSQ, meaning that you're out of the race, disqualified of that race. And this way you can see how the results has been going for the sailors. Yesterday, I said in the broadcast, hey, we have a special guest on the harbor. And yes, we met the special guest and had an interview with him. And he has a small message to all of you sailors participating here at the European Championship 2022 in Sønderborg, but also to all the volunteers.
Hi everybody, my name is Hans Natop. I'm the president of the Danish NOC, the Danish Olympic Committee. I am in Sønderborg, actually my hometown. I grew up on these waters. And I'm at the European Optimist Dinghy Championships. Everybody attending an event like this, of course, you go here for the sport. Everybody wants to win. But the benefit of being here, I can tell you from looking back where I am, back on many years with very big, great, good experiences taking part in regattas. The benefit is to make friends, to make sure you enjoy the moment, no matter how it goes. We want to win, yes, but we also want to make friends and good connections. And the joy of it being here, for me being back, is actually to meet people. People I met many years ago. Now I can tell on the names, their kids being here, being participants. Everybody enjoy it. I really compliment the organization here that can pull an event like this off. Good work, everybody, and all you who are participants, enjoy it and have a really good time and a good competition.
A lot of big guests has been here on the harbor. A lot of attention. It is a European Championship. It's only the second time it is in Denmark. But the Optimist actually started originally in Denmark, was pushed through it. A Dane was one of the first presidents in IOTA. But enough about politics and us adults. Let's go on the water. Let's hear how today's races has been. Day 3 at the 2022 Optimist European Championship in Sønderborg, Denmark. Light wind, sunny weather and 24 degrees in the morning. A new day, a new race and new race conditions. Weather forecast, cloudy but sunny. Wind between 7 and 15 knots of wind speed. Most of the time 10 to 12 knots. The wind coming from a bearing of 220 degrees but shifting all day long between 220 degrees to 255 degrees. Race 5, boys yellow group. The pre-start was a fight for getting the best possible position for racing upwind towards the middle of the race course. Halfway up towards the top mark, the wind shifted and most of the fleet headed towards the left-hand side. But it was the boats keeping themselves in the middle that had the opportunity to come first and tack above the fleet. Glenn Foster, USA, closely followed by a Slovenian and a Greek sailor, rounded the top mark first, and it looked like they had a chance to sneak away while racing downwind towards the offset mark. But the top of the fleet would not let them go, and an Italian sailor rounded the gate mark first. Upwind towards the finish line, the Italian got company by a Slovak that almost took the victory. The Italian Arthur Brighanti won the race with 3 meters in front of the Slovakian sailor. Race 6, boys yellow group. A long day on the water, and the last race of this group was set to start. Close fighting at the starting line for positioning the boat for going upwind. In race 5, it was the start in the first upwind leg, deciding who was ending in the top of the fleet. And like in race 5, the sailors keeping themselves in the middle won the upwind racing. It was yet again a Greek and an Italian sailor in the lead. Downwind, they raced side by side and created a gap to the fleet with more than 60 meters. Just before the gate mark, the Italian got some better speed into the boat and took the lead. Upwind, Arthur Briganti, Italy, defended his position and took the victory. Race 5, boys blue group. A new race course placement is creating new conditions of racing. And the start showed that the fleet had to find their new strategy. 47 boats spread out to find their way towards the top mark. This almost created a gap so the leaders could sneak away. The Italian Leandro Cialpi took the lead at the top mark, and downwind he kept gaining distance to the fleet, rounding the gate mark with 50 meters towards second place and ended up winning the race. Upwind towards the finish line, there was a huge battle for the third to the 10th place. Ryder Croft from Malta won the third place battle. Race 6, boys blue group. The race started with a huge fight at the committee boat for getting the best position to race either port tack upwind or be on the top of the other boats. One boat got a DNS in the start. The racing was tight, and halfway upwind the top 20 were within reach of each other. At the top mark, 2 Spanish boats rounded in the lead and got a small gap to the fleet. Downwind to the gate mark, they got company of 3 other boats, and the mark rounding was going to decide who might win this race. For a long time it looked like an American and Maltese boat was taking the win by going all the way to the left-hand side of the race course. But it were 2 Spanish and a Brazilian boat that halfway upwind took the lead after rounding the gate mark to the right-hand side and halfway upwind tacked towards the middle. The Brazilian and the Spanish sailor had a huge tack battle and crossed the finish line with less than 1 meter in between each other. Race 5, boys red group. A tricky start of the day for the fleet, trying to find out which side of the race course was going to pay out. A spread fleet, but still very close racing with top 5 within 30 meters of each other. Downwind, a Swiss and an Argentinian sailor fought for position, but it looked like the Swiss was speeding away. A penalty just before the gate mark made him slow down. Halfway upwind, the Swiss was comfortable in the lead, but something happened, so he was taken out of the race. Now the top 4 were only within 10 meters of each other, and a tactical fight began. And it was an Argentinian sailor taking the victory. Race 6, boys red group. Again a race with a huge fight at the committee boat. It was all about getting the chance to cover up the fleet and stay ahead. Rounding the top mark with an Australian, Polish and Maltese boat rounding first. Downwind they followed each other and created a bigger gap to the rest of the fleet. Upwind they started a match race for the victory, and in the end it was the Greek Stefanos Samaras taking the victory. Race 5, girls yellow group. A huge fight at the starting line was decisive for a large part of the fleet. Around 20 boats got stuck at the pinhead mark and got covered by the rest of the fleet. Upwind, the middle of the race course paid out, and a Polish, Spanish and French boat got a comfortable lead in front of the rest of the fleet and rounded the top mark first. Downwind, the French Pretonil Lascanet sailed away from the 2 others and rounded the gate mark first. Upwind, she defended her position by tacking above the other boats and took the victory. A Spanish Polish and Danish boat fought for the second place and finished with only 8 seconds in between all 3 of them. Race 6, girls yellow group. The fleet spread out at the starting line, afraid of getting stuck behind other boats like in race 5. A fantastic pin and start by a Danish sailor, Laura Schmidt, and she kept her top position when rounding the top mark, together with a Spanish and a Polish girl. Downwind they got fellowship by 3 other boats, and the race upwind towards the finish line had begun. The choices of side in the gate mark was going to be decisive of who will take the lead and win the race. Again, it was the boats going towards the right hand side and early doing attack towards the middle to cover up the other boats that won the race. Race 5, girls blue group. A lot on stake and a lot of nervous racing was the headline of the start. 3 start was made in the race, ending up with 19 boats getting the black flag penalty for false start. The remaining fleet kept themselves in the middle and with close racing arriving at the top mark with only 30 meters from 1st to 15th position. Top mark rounding was won by a Swedish and a Brazilian and an Italian sailor. Downwind the Italian girl sailed away from rest of the fleet, but closely followed by a sailor that had got the black flag, and ended up losing it to a Japanese sailor and a French sailor. All 3 sailors finished with 2 meters in between each other. Race 6, girls blue group. After a terrible start with 19 boats getting a black flag in race 5, it seemed like the fleet has spread out to take a more safe start. A start that split the fleet into 3 groups, one going all the way to the left hand side, another one going all the way to the right hand side, and a small group keeping themselves in the middle. But who was going to win the upwind battle? The boats chosen to race towards the middle won the upwind racing and rounded the top mark first. A Polish, Croatian and Turkish boat took the lead. Downwind towards the gate mark, the top of the fleet came together and a close upwind race was going to start. In the end, it was an Italian girl, Emilia Salvatore, winning the last race of the day. A lot of actions on the water today and a lot of flags. We just talked here in studio, but also during the day, hey, we have some yellow flags, some black flags. Hey, is the black flag just something we put up for false starts? No, actually, when they're starting on the water, they can have 2, 3, maybe sometimes 4 starts. It's all about the conditions. But suddenly the juries are getting a little bit annoyed. Then they're putting up a black flag. And if you then do a false start, you're out. Then we have a yellow flag on the water. And we saw the Swiss suddenly going upwind and in the lead and then were out. It's because he got 1 penalty with the yellow flag, but if he gets another penalty and he might been pumping the boat upwind, then he got his 2nd penalty and then you're out. Then we have another story in today's races. If you're racing and you have a black flag and you raced inside the race and didn't go out as soon as you noticed that you had a black flag, then you will get what we call a DNE. DNE means that you cannot discard the race result, so that sailor will get maximum points. With all this said, this was Thomas Bjørn guiding you today's races, and we're looking forward to invite you in for the Golden Fleet tomorrow and Friday. The focus in the updates will be the Golden Fleet. We will find a European champion 2022 in the Optimist class.